Yep, Laney can bite me any day. Laney just went up on my list like so freaking fast. The moment the Fang came out, I was like, yes, yes, I like this new vampire girl. But no, episode 7 of Magical Revolution was just an amazing episode, like on so many levels. There was so much packed in here. I'm really surprised at this point how much this studio and the director and everybody is really packing into these episodes without it feeling like its pacing is just off. Like it feels like so much is covered, but doesn't feel like it's going too fast. And there was so much in this episode. My gosh, Yuffie stepping up. Yuffie stepping up. Thank you, Tilty. But Yuffie stepping up, and oh gosh, that ending scene had me like welling up in tears. This episode was so good. Oh, this guy. Okay, I need to slow down. Slow down. The beginning segment's really kind of establishing what is going on with Laney. Now, I would admit that it kind of feels like it's a little bit quick. They just look at this forbidden text. They realize that she might be a descendant of this magician that was looking into essentially how magic itself works, looking into its core. And he couldn't do it with his limited lifespan. So he essentially implanted a magicite in him, became a monster, became a vampire, became a vampire. And it was interesting how they kind of molded it into the idea that it's not necessarily this blood-sucking vampire that you get from typical tales. It's not a bite and control. It's more of he had a magicite in him that was controlling people around him and molding them to do what he wanted them to do, to fit his need, rewrite their memories so that they want to seek out the knowledge that he's not going to be able to find. And yes, sounds very familiar to Laney. So it assumes that she is the descendant of this guy, and his magicite that was in him passed on through generations until it got to Laney, which implies that there's a possibility that everybody that's working behind the scenes knew that, and then they used her for that purpose. So it'll be interesting to eventually maybe find out how they find out about this girl and because they did mention the idea that she was a commoner and she became a noble. So that implies that they wanted to put her in position to be with the prince, and so maybe they gave her that right, or gave her her family that right to become nobles, so they can then basically use her as a tool. If she and her family remain commoners, they wouldn't be able to use her as a tool because she would be a commoner. But yeah, I like how Tilty at some point, like, I'm kind of glad that you told me beforehand because I started to feel sympathy for her. Which was great. But no, yeah, the moment that they start doing the training, which Tilty was all about, I want to use her in training. Finally she awakens. She finally realizes how to use her abilities, and her eyes change to red, and she gets her fangs, which was great. Like I said, the moment that they kind of started implying that stuff, and then she's basically having to suck the mana from Ilya on the side. Yeah, spice it up. They're sort of implying that she's with Ilya. Like, she says at some point that she goes to Ilya to get more mana and to drink her blood because now it's working. She needs to replenish it. And it implied that she really appreciates Ilya. She can't draw the blood and mana from people like Anisfia and Euphyllia because she still, like, respects her position in the hierarchy. And so the only one that she can turn to is Ilya. And it sort of implies that she's got a thing for Ilya now. You can argue it's because she's having to rely on Ilya and Ilya is allowing it and helping her. But again, it's sort of implying that she started... Again, this is supposed to go on full on Yuri, and it's definitely pushing Anisfia and Euphyllia up there. Why not Ilya and Laney? Why not? I kind of skipped it, but I did really appreciate the opening sequence, and I kind of assumed that was the direction it was going to go. Like, I didn't feel like Euphyllia was going to hate Laney. Like, I kind of assumed she would really quickly gather, oh, this girl's kind of in the same position I am. She's sort of a product of her birth, and a tragedy of her birth as well. Sort of implied early on that Yuffie was kind of like, look, I don't know if I want to forgive you. I don't really know the full... she understands the full circumstances. She just doesn't know... She has no feelings on the matter, is what she really says. But the moment that she asked, did you have malice in doing that? She's like, no, of course not. Then it's fine. Like, she understands at that point, you aren't against me. And again, you're a product of your own birth. Again, just like Yuffie. I'm surprised that she didn't specifically say that. I don't necessarily think that she wants to kind of admit that, but They are from the same kind of tragedy. But no, the scene with Tilty and Yuffie was great. Yuffie was great. Tilty going, I seen jealousy in you. Because she was looking at them like, these guys are, they're so amazing. Like, Anisfia and Tilty are so amazing together. She was getting jealous, and Tilty's seen that. But Tilty basically tells her, look, I don't care about Anisfia. You're jealous, but I'm not in that position. It's like, but what about you? Like, are you jealous because you want Anisfia? But I think the thing I appreciate the most about this scene is that Tilty is putting it plainly in front of Yuffie. You do realize where Anisfia is going, right? Do you want to follow that path? Like, everything's cleared up now. What are you going to do now? Do you care to stay by her? I mean, your name's been cleared. You killed the dragon together. Your reputation's been improved. Why are you still here? And really putting it plainly to her, you do realize that Anisfia is going down a path that everybody is going to scorn her and hate her. And yes, when the prince finally takes the crown, he's going to exile Anisfia. He ain't going to let her stick around. And it's kind of surprising. Yeah, that kind of didn't really dawn on me. But yeah, he's going to be very vicious to her once he gets the crown. He's going to exile her. Are you going to follow her? She's got a really bad path ahead of her. Are you willing to stick with it? Don't regret it. Walk away now if you're not willing to follow her. And yes, that in turn becomes her answer in the end, which I thought was, it was so good. Because essentially Yuffie, in realizing this, realizes, yeah, I guess I do want to stay at her side. But not only that, but she puts together with everything else what Anisfia has been doing and her passion for magic. And this whole scene with her in the bedroom together. Yes, they slept together. I don't think they did anything. They didn't do anything. But in this conversation, she's reminded of the fact that Anisfia loves magic. Loves it. She doesn't know what love is, but she figures she loves it. And Yuffie realizes, and it's kind of one of those things where you kind of wonder if she's manipulating things or if she really feels it. I think she really feels this. Euphilia went up on that stage specifically to tell these people, you don't realize it. She's not a heretic. She's not destroying the spirits. She's not spitting in the face of the spirits. This whole organization is around the idea that you don't do magicology because it spits in the face of the spirits. They worship and they praise the spirits themselves, and they use the magic from the spirits. And guess what? Anisfia loves that. She loves that magic. But it's not that the spirit, and the way she puts it, is not the spirits didn't bless her with magic, this thing that she craves so much. They recognized her talents. Mainly put in the idea that they didn't give her this magic because she's going to change the world. Now, I was kind of curious if they're going to put it in a way that Euphilia believes that she wasn't given power so that she can craft ways to make it to where they no longer have to rely on the spirits. I think that was also another interesting way they could have took this. But yes, she's saying that they acknowledge her power. And in respect to that, she wants to gain that power. She wants to advance mankind in the pursuit of the knowledge of this world. Reason and magic, this magicology was created, and she's wanting to take it to new places. Here's this broom. I like how she criticized it. Like, it sucks. Like, this shouldn't be the form that it's in. But still, we have this other plan, which, yes, Tilty admits they created on the spot so they can keep these materials. It's a way of showing these people, yes, selfishly, she wants to keep the dragon stuff, but this is what she's going towards. This is technically, it's fabricating what the use of the dragon tools are on the spot, but in the end, this is the end game. She wants to reshape the world, and her research could change everything. Transportation, boost the economy, all these things will advance. And I loved how some of them are at first saying you're spitting in the faces of the spirits, and at the same time they're suddenly trying to excuse themselves in it. Like, well, now that you mention it, yeah, this can really benefit us. It's like they're putting aside their beliefs that they weren't really too attached to, and thus accepting it. But it's in her final words that she wasn't granted this blessing because they respected her and wanted her to change things. That's when it's sold. I loved everything about this whole performance. I love everything about what Yuffie says here because it doesn't feel like the writer is making it too simple. He's presenting all this opposition. Everything that Anisfia said wasn't working. It was what Yuffie said. They accepted what she said. And despite the fact that they kind of were accepting it, she decided to break her own argument in order to bring to light what she knew everybody was saying. And then she resolved that issue. It's perfect. Like, it was such a great scene. Like I said, the moment that she started talking about what she felt about Anisfia and how much she loved magic, she knew more than anybody in the room how much she loved magic. And thus there's no possible way Anisfia is spitting in the face of the spirits. She wants that magic. She's not angry that she doesn't have that magic. She wants it. She loves it. So who could, of anybody in the world, create something to advance mankind than somebody that loves it, but yet still wants to progress? It's such a good scene. It's such a good scene. Like, oh my gosh. Again, I got so emotional. And Anisfia's over there crying. I'm like, I'm crying. Stop, Anisfia. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. And the entire time, Tilty's like, yep, you go, girl. Like, this is exactly what I was trying to get her to realize. Again, to Tilty's credit here, Euphyllia chose to stand up, chose to not only stand beside Anisfia, like, she's full in now. Like, this was her signing, I am a part of this. And if this fails, I will go down with Anisfia. But additionally, it's also Euphyllia saying, from the person who understands this the most, I will correct this path. That I'm not going to let this fail. I'm not going to let these people see her as evil. This is the best way for her, even if the prince does get the crown, essentially correct the vision of Anisfia, that she's no longer a heretic, because she will improve things, and it's not spitting in the face of the spirits. It's multifaceted, and I love that. And I think it was important that she spoke up, because she was like them. Because that was one of the main things that everybody was saying. Well, she's not a magician. What does she know? It took somebody who basically is master at all the elements to step forward and say, no, I'm like way better than all you are at speaking to the spirits. I have more blessing from the spirits than any of you in this room, and I acknowledge what she's doing. I will admit that having this whole section right after the whole thing with Laney, I kind of assumed that we're like, oh, we'll just have her go in that room and just manipulate everybody. It's like, no. Again, it wasn't too easy. They chose the more difficult path, and yes, the more impactful path. Anyways, I think I covered everything. Such an amazing episode on both fronts. New waifu. Love kind of the twist that they made with the whole magicite in Laney, because I was really wondering, like, well, was when she was born, did they implant it into her? How did it get into her? Well, it's just something that's been passed down through generations. So yes, your move, Prince. Let's see what he's gonna do. This really did feel like a transition into the next arc. Like, this feels like everything is kind of opening up to, it's kind of a conclusion to the last 6 episodes and kind of opening the door to what they're gonna be doing next. So I'll be really interested to see where the story goes from here. But yeah, absolutely loving it. Loving it to death. But I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what's the other episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon, tips link, super thanks button down below. A special thanks to Justin T, who recently became a supporter on Patreon. I greatly appreciate the support. It means so much to me, and y'all take care.